tape right now because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden is the best Biden ever.
So get this. The Biden family urges Joe to stay in the race. President Joe Biden's family, including his son Hunter Biden, urged him to stay in the presidential race despite his poor performance in a recent debate. Why? Because Joe Biden's family is as evil as Joe Biden was his entire life.
Hunter hasn't been sentenced yet, remember? He's got convicted. He's been sentenced.
Oh, that's right.
Dad, you gotta
stay in so you can pardon me.
You're the smartest guy I know.
The family criticized his top campaign advisors, including Ron Klein. How do you say? Is it Klain?
Ron Klain.
Ron Klain, Anita Dunn, and Bob Bauer for their role in preparing him for the debate. The discussion. Well, that's the important thing.
They didn't bake the potato long enough.
Yeah. You don't want to take responsibility for putting a demented guy in there. You want to blame somebody else. Because that's what Americans are looking for now, Kurt. Someone who's really good at deflecting. The better you are at it, the more support you're going to get. So don't quit now. You're almost done, literally.
No, yeah, commit. Commit to the bit.
The discussion took place at Camp David, where the family expressed concerns over Biden's ability to effectively campaign against Donald Trump. Hunter Biden was reported to be a key voice. A key voice.
Come on! Why would you report that?
Here it is. Politico is reporting it. Biden's family privately criticized top advisors and pushes for their ouster at Camp David meeting.
Is it true crack was a key drug in Hunter's reasoning with that?
This is a clear-cut case of senior abuse. It's like the Western where the outlaw comes in and makes the old drunk dance while he shoots at his feet. Dance, dance, Grandpa, dance. And this is, by the way, that's Biden's family.
Boy, are they mad? Yeah.
Here we see a group of people who do not want to be associated with that guy who was forced to leave office because his brain died on the job. That's all this is.
But they really hold a grudge about sharing those showers all those years.
Yep. Oh. They don't want to have to sit at dinner and have everyone talking about them. This got nothing to do with the security of our nation, folks. Members of Joe Biden's family privately trashed his top campaign advisors at Camp David this weekend, blaming them for the president's flop on Thursday's debate and urging Biden to fire or demote people in his political high command. Wow, that's like blaming Sisyphus for having difficulty with the boulder, isn't it? Among the family's complaints about the debate practice, that Biden was not prepared to pivot more to go on the attack, that he was bogged down too much on defending his record rather than outlining a vision for a second term, and that he was overworked and not well rested.
Outlining a vision for do you think that's a big ask?
So
he can't get off down one stair on his own.
How do you go from awarding him for taking baby steps in front of the whole world to demanding he be given complex paragraphs to repeat on the spot?
I know. Oh, you answered every question. Now outline a vision for your second term.
And an African gray parrot would pick it up quicker. Biden's allies and staffers have sought to blame a variety of factors in the yeah, you got to blame somebody, including the president was ill, was over-prepared, and that the CNN moderators failed to fact-check former president. He was over-prepared.
That was the problem.
Oh, But as the crisis continued into a third day, the finger-pointing has turned inward toward some of Biden's closest advisors. The focus on the staff, however, also allowed the family to overlook Biden's own failings. In Atlanta, one of the people familiar noted...
What about his doctors?
No,
how about those guys?
Shit.
I'd be looking their direction. Hey, you said his brain still worked, didn't you, Doc?
These people said the Biden family wanted the president to continue in the campaign rather than end his career with a calamitous debate performance against Trump, whom they all loathe. First Lady Jill Biden and his son Hunter were the loudest voices urging the president to stay in the contest. You know, Hunter's enjoying this because this is his revenge on his inappropriately abusive father. I mean, now, why do you think he left 3 laptops? That's not just the only laptop.
That's right. He lost 3 and 1 gun.
It's laptops that could easily be found and turned over for state's evidence.
Guy treats guns like laptops, leave them all over the place.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I think it's I mean, honestly, from one of those 3 laptops, I'm not sure which one of the many laptops, we know that his dad's in his phone is pedo Peter.
That's right.
Or pedophile Pete.
That's right.
Hey, Pedo Pete, you gotta stay in the race.
Come on, Pedo Pete.
So you just believe in your dad, pedophile Pete.
So
your words.
Joe Biden is not the good, dignified person. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. He's a narcissistic sociopath, and he's a pathological liar. He's the reason why black and brown people are locked up at way higher rates. He crushed unions.
He did conserve water with his 15-year-old daughter.
He did that. He made it so students can't declare bankruptcy on their loans, and I think he also made it that you can't declare bankruptcy on medical debt. Is that true?
I don't know. I haven't tried to pull that one.
Someone in the chat check me on the veracity of that.
I haven't tried that yet.
Haven't tried that yet?
I hope not.
Somebody in the chat said that there's a clip of Hunter Biden talking about elder abuse.
Oh, no, we got to find it.
Elder abuse is a thing that affects our society. I'm a lawyer and a veteran.
What I'm saying, elder, if look, we got the thing is, it's just ridiculous. People are raping their brothers and sisters,
showering with their own daughters.
Would it be amazing if he said that?
I want him to stay in until he does say it.
That does slip by.
He already admitted to killing Medicare.
He did.
He was honest.
We beat Medicare.
You sure did, Joey.
You sure did. You beat the hell out of it. Okay, over to stuff.
Okay, thank you so much, Stephen Hayes. Garble, Joe pooped his pants as a baby. That's why he's doing that now. Louise, watching the debate, this is the worst season of The Walking Dead ever. The last season with Feinstein was bad, but this is worse. LOL. Thank you, Louise.
He's right. Biden's only like the 17th doddering old fool that's still there.
Okay, here's the last story.
Back to Jimmy.
Here's our last story for today. So I follow this this Substack. It's called A Midwestern Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody knows if it's a guy or a girl.
Mm.
Why isn't there a cure for insomnia? So I guess it's called The Forgotten Side of Medicine. That's its official name, but it's the Midwestern Doctor. I follow the Twitter account too. Why isn't there a cure for insomnia?
There's not?
No.
Michael Jackson cured it permanently.
Permanently. So get this. There is a cure for it.
Okay.
But just like ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, they're keeping it from you. In 1964, a sleeping medication hit the market that was remarkably effective for a variety of conditions, including insomnia. So that wasn't just the only thing it treated, but it really treated insomnia. And how do I know about this? Because I quit smoking pot and I couldn't sleep for months. And I found out about this drug that actually does cure insomnia, but they made it illegal. That's the story here. I won't bury the lead. And hence profoundly improve the health of its recipients. Because it threatened so many different drug markets, once it reached America in 1990, the FDA, in collusion with the media, launched a 10-year takedown of it, which in many regards was almost identical to what they did to ivermectin.
And they approved Appeal, by the way, the fake
crap
they sprayed.
It was successful, and very few people are even aware that this drug exists, or that the many of sleeping disorders we face are easily treatable. While most of the sleeping medications are unsafe and ineffective drugs that are best avoided, one actually worked and frequently produced miraculous. It's called gamma GHB.
They did it like they did with Gaddafi and Saddam. They draw a raping drug.
The most apparent benefit of this drug was that it was powerful and consistent sleep aid that immediately put the recipient deep into the sleep cycle, resulting in the benefits of those cycles being restored for many who had previously lost them, and the individual waking up feeling completely refreshed and energized. The stuff they give you now doesn't give you the deep restorative sleep.
Do you know who?
But this does.
It was bodybuilders.
Well, that's coming up.
Okay.
Furthermore, it frequently could allow people to feel fully refreshed after just a 3 or 4 hour sleep, and was unlikely to be addictive and did not suppress the reticular activation system. I don't know what your balls have to do with it. And dramatically increased the level of growth hormone. For example, 2.4 grams given intravenously in 30 minutes caused a 16-fold increase in GH levels. As growth hormone heals and repairs the body, but it greatly declines with age. You lose growth hormone as you get older. This resulted in many previously frail elderly patients on GHB having significantly increased strength, stamina, muscle mass, and function, while in younger patients, significantly improvement was seen in their healing from musculoskeletal injuries. It produced remarkable results in the treatment of a variety of addictions, particularly opioids and alcohol and benzodiazepines, along with helping mitigate withdrawals from each of these substances. Conversely, GHB was not addictive. So it seems like another wonder drug that they got rid of. It increased dopamine levels within the substantia nigra, thereby counteracting the effects of Parkinson's disease. It aided childbirth by relaxing the mother, dilating the cervix, and protecting the fetus from respiratory depression. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It had a variety of aphrodisiac effects, such as making people much more comfortable with sexual intimacy, dramatically increasing their sensitivity to touching or being touched, improving male erectile capacity and premature ejaculation, and increasing capacity for female orgasms. Helping the individuals address subjects they are otherwise inhibited from exploring during therapy, thereby allowing therapeutic breakthroughs to happen. GHB was also found to be particularly helpful for couples therapy, having a disinhibiting effect like alcohol, but making individuals friendlier rather than aggressive. It temporarily helped with anxiety, but without many of the side effects seen with benzodiazepines. Similarly, in France, it was frequently used by students who had to pass an exam or give a public presentation. Given these remarkable benefits and the decades of research supporting its use, why has no one ever heard of it?
We all heard of it. It was called the date rape drug.
It's because it's the ivermectin of sleep medicine.
But you know, Rohypnol was initially the
Let me get to this.
Oh.
In the case of GHB in the early 1990s, it began entering the U.S. as a supplement, largely due to bodybuilders, as you mentioned, recognizing the value of its increasing growth hormone in the body. Before long, the FDA decided they needed to stop it and became very interested in publicizing the adverse reactions that occurred to it, and in no time discovered 57 calls to poison control about it, which the CDC heavily publicized, including 9 which resulted in ICU admissions, but 0 of which were fatal. So just like they did that bullshit with ivermectin, they're getting all these calls.
Gunshot people can't
get help
because of all the blind.
This, in turn, is very similar to the epidemic of poison control calls for ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine deaths we saw throughout COVID-19, all of which were later shown to be a hoax. For example, the photos of people lining up in the ERs that were supposedly overloaded with ivermectin poisonings were actually old images of individuals lining up for COVID-19 vaccines. So how did they get rid of it? Well, the FDA in 1990 gave out this press release. And here's what the press release says. The Food and Drug Administration today warned consumers to discontinue the use of an illegally marketed drug, GHB, or gamma-hydroxybutyric acid, that has been promoted as a legal psychedelic, but has caused more than 30 people in California, Florida, and Georgia to become ill with symptoms ranging from nausea and vomiting to severe respiratory problems, seizures, and coma. The FDA offered consumers the following medical advice. Anyone taking GHB outside of physician-supervised clinical trials should stop immediately. Anyone who has consumed GHB and is experiencing seizures, uncontrolled shaking, headache, unexplained drowsiness, or other central nervous system disorders, nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea should consult their physician immediately. Physicians treating patients exhibiting these conditions should report these cases to their local poison control center, and according to the California Health Department, GHB is sold through mail order outlets, health food stores, bodybuilding gyms, and fitness centers. It is marketed as powder or granules. Then, on the basis of the authority bestowed by this press release, which was full of deceptive inaccuracies, the FDA banned GHB in the country, threatened compounding pharmacies into no longer supplying it, and began raiding people who were supplying it, which they did not have the legal authority to do.
Freeze, FDA.
Yeah.
What?
What? Many of these arrests eventually went to the courts, where the FDA engaged in a series of highly unscrupulous tactics. For example, when attempting to prosecute individuals for supplying GHB, they argued that there was no evidence GHB had any valid use or had any evidence of safety. But simultaneously, they refused to let the courts admit the decades of evidence arguing otherwise, or the fact that there were 15 investigational new drug applications which had been submitted to them for GHB, each of which indicated a lot of that evidence actually existed. So that's where they were lying again. Isn't that something? Because of how egregious the FDA's tactics were, and for example, prosecutorial misconduct, withholding evidence from the defense, lacking a legal basis for the prosecution, entrapment, or illegal searches and seizures, the higher courts gradually sided with the defendants and began overturning the convictions.
Wow.
The FDA in turn... Hang on. The FDA, in turn, switched to trying to persuade the state legislatures to outlaw GHB, as politically it was not possible for the FDA to do so at a federal level. As Rohypnol, this is what you were talking about, roofies had recently entered the United States, and fear was beginning to build over its use as a date rape drug, since it both made the recipient unable to resist the assault and likely to forget it. The fear of roofies was juxtaposed onto GHB.
I remember being confused. Like, wait, there's two?
Yeah. But guess which one got banned? GHB, not roofies.
You can still get roofies. Then why was Cosby using Benadryl?
Here we go. In turn, the media began trumpeting that America was facing a wave of rapes from a silent, odorless, colorless drug that made one helpless to resist or even remember sexual assault.
In movies nonstop.
In parallel, these likely focus group tested words began flooding those stories about GHB. Dangerous, potentially lethal, hallucinogenic, addictive, illegal, designer, date rape drug. Note, Rohypnol was able to avoid later bans GHB faced because its manufacturer successfully lobbied for it to be left alone.
You know, designer drug, I've heard that term for many years.
Yeah.
Which drug is not designed?
Right?
What are you talking about?
Before long, a few young women were identified who had been date raped while on the drug and then died afterward from the drug side effects. The media did all that it could to fan the hysteria. For example, he points out some articles from Time magazine. A lot of people, GHB users, have heart attacks, go into cardiac arrest, said Sergeant Michael Lewis. These are from those articles. GHB, the new backroom drug on the party scene, can kill without warning, said CNN. GHB slows breathing, cuts off oxygen. A blackout can be brief, can be forever, says CNN.
You know, that's what OxyContin that was legal does?
Yeah. No, one of the most extraordinary ones was the Tennessee Bar Association publishing an alleged affidavit from the medical examiner who performed Elvis's autopsy, claiming that GHB killed him. Although once questioned, they stated it was just an academic exercise.
What, to lie about Elvis?
I guess so. Using this fear campaign, the FDA gradually convinced individual states to ban it. And in 2000, in honor of two GHB victims, Congress passed the Hillary J. Farias and Samantha Reed Date Rape Drug Prohibition Act of 2000.
Oh, you name it after someone, you know it's a bullshit law.
The law made GHB a Schedule I drug, whereas cocaine, for example, is a Schedule II drug, thereby bypassing the protections GHB had from the 1994 DSHEA Act, as GHB is produced naturally within your body and found in small amounts within meat and wine.
Oh my God, is my body a drug dealer designing drugs?
Remarkably, however, the emergency law also included a special exemption for a pharmaceutical preparation of GHB, which was instead made a Schedule III drug, which violates the entire basis for the scheduling, as something can only be Schedule I if there is no acceptable medical use for it. So they completely contradicted themselves. Well, there's no medical use, except we're going to say there is.
It's like they knew everyone's a moron that wouldn't do their own research.
That's exact. No, the scheduling also made it very difficult to conduct future research.
Oh, thank God.
On the drug. In looking at these events, there are three important things to take note of. First, the entire epidemic was made up of a safety database used for monitoring these types of things, found that GHB accounted for less than 0.1% of drugs mentioned in emergency department room reports. Less than 0.1%.
You know, Tylenol kills more than all those drugs.
Yep. In 2006, after the English police examined 120 cases of sexual assault, they determined 119 of them involved alcohol.
No, what do you know?
Out of 120, 119 involved alcohol. 57 had taken an illegal or controlled prescription drug, for example, cocaine, and only 2 had received GHB, which may or may not have played a role in the assault. In 2010, literature review determined that GHB had been detected in between 0.2 and 4.4% of reported sexual assaults, and hence was not causing the rape epidemic the media's hysteria had suggested. It didn't make any sense, as GHB was very salty.
Yeah.
And it was hence easy to taste.
It was not, yeah.
Rather
right.
than being a stealth rape drug, especially after a dose which could be sufficient to sedate someone. So you would taste it.
Odorless and tasteless.
Yeah. If GHB actually was an effective date rape drug, the last thing you would want to do would be to widely advertise it to potential rapists.
Well, unless I'm doing a lot of rape reports and I make my money that way.
Most of the claims made about GHB overtly contradicted the decades of research on it. For example, minor muscle movements made on the drug were labeled as seizures, despite EEG studies repeatedly showing they were not accompanied by seizure motion in the brain, while the brief deep sleep it caused was labeled as comas. In lieu of evidence, the media unquestionably repeated the government's talking points. Let me say that again. In lieu of evidence, the media unquestionably repeated the government's talking points. When has something like that ever happened before? I don't know.
Was the problem before COVID even started? Hey, they got one move. It's called the old reefer madness.
Yep.
And guess what happens with reefer madness? Rape.
That's rape.
The same as Saddam Hussein, and they always go to that one. Oh, Julian Assange. They got one smear.
Finally, each widely publicized GHB victim, none of whom were ever sexually assaulted,
So you just made that up.
had a story inconsistent with GHB being their cause of death, alongside clear cause of death besides GHB. For example, blood clot in the heart and a family's history of fatal heart defects.
Would they get a booster too with the GHB?
This includes the 2 date rape victims the act that outlawed GHB was named after. Likewise, the small number of case reports that were used to portray GHB as dangerous presented a very weak case that it was. In contrast, large numbers of victims exist for many of lucrative drugs on the market, but we never hear about them because their manufacturers sponsor both the media and the political class.
Wow. So you've been fucked the whole time.
Their whole time.
It wasn't a new thing. I'm actually glad about the whole COVID thing because at least now you could see. Because the GHB thing, I mean, I've done so many drugs in my life. I never did that one. I guess it was done by the time I did drugs, it wasn't around. But it really is amazing to me how much reefer madness is the same. And the reason things are a gateway drug, like reefer, is you go, oh, they were totally lying about it.
They were lying about reefer.
I wonder what other great drugs they're lying about. So that's how it becomes a gateway.
So because of this debacle, it became much more difficult to get GHB, and many leading integrative doctors at the time were disgusted with the FDA as they saw how much GHB benefited their patients and treated a variety of immensely challenging illnesses. For example, one of my somewhat renowned colleagues is fairly left-wing and reflexively denies the notion any type of coordinated conspiracy could ever exist.
What about Russiagate?
But even he is outraged over what happened with GHB and believes the stories of GHB rapes were a complete hoax. Since GHB is easy to synthesize, and it essentially allows people to become drunk without the hangover while simultaneously functioning as an effective aphrodisiac, it became very popular in the rave scene, where to some extent it is still used.
Oh, so I can still get it?
People make it themselves.
But I have to go to a rave?
Yeah. Or go to Dore Alley.
The rave. Oh, maybe they misprinted rave. They took the V out and put a P by mistake, and that was the problem. It's a rave drug.
Likewise, since some patient populations who are dealing with significant challenges due to post-PTSD find GHB greatly helps them. I periodically hear of them finding a way to get it. So I'll stop there. There's more to this article. You should go read it over at Substack, a Midwestern doctor.
That's better than
Somebody
human growth
provided
hormone.
the link.
I didn't know
So
it does.
there's a link in the chat if you want to go. But that's exactly that. So how, this started in the 90s.
And that's
so
why we
this
still
isn't
use
new.
oil, and that's why we still use all these things.
And
that
you know,
suck.
I bet you there's going to be we're going to find out. I bet the Midwestern doctor is going to find out. Hey, you know, there was a cancer drug that they got rid of. I bet you any
You
money.
think just one?
I bet you, right?
You think just one?
I bet you any money.
If you trust anything from a government agency, you are such a jerk off.
Such a fucking jerk off.
It's unbelievable.
So they did it. They
These
did
are
it.
people that know.
They did it. So all the sleep medicine now is garbage. It doesn't give you restorative sleep.
Hey, you
It's
know
all-
why weed was banned? It interferes with MK Ultra programming, it turns out. Did you know that? That was one of the drugs they studied. When
Really?
they're trying to figure out how to control people's minds, a verified on the books thing that did happen. They learned that marijuana interferes with the programming. So all the other reasons they banned it, I'll bet that's the main one.
So your government is your enemy. The FDA is not protecting you. And things that drug seems unbelievably helpful.
You don't even live in a real country.
Yeah. So this idea that Donald Trump is going to take your democracy away from you is a joke.
Fuck off.
Is
He's going
a
to
joke.
take our democracy.
You don't live in a
Take
democracy.
it.
You have your whole life. You haven't lived in a democracy.
Go look up what it means.
Your whole life.
Moron.
So I was going to do locals today. I don't have time. We ran out of time. We'll do 2 of them next week. How about that? And we'll do a premium streamium next week. Also, tomorrow I have to get on a plane. I'm going to Austin and do Joe Rogan's show on Wednesday.
What?
And then it's 4th of July.
Well,
and
I'm going on 4th of July because I got to do Mothership on Friday.
Kurt's at Mothership this weekend, right?
It's probably sold out. I doubt you can even get tickets, but you should check.
You should check.
Hey, and I'm not saying if you know where to get GHB, bring some. I would never say that.
You have Okay, I would love to get some GHB. There's some doctors I know that give it
Down
to
in Mexico?
So there's people who have suffered from PTSD, soldiers.
Yeah.
And they will make it for them, but it's all clandestine. You can't you have to
ketamine.
You have to get like a Proton Mail account. You have to do it with Bitcoin, shit like that.
So you could get fentanyl probably
within
like that.
5
seconds.
I could walk outside right now on Ventura Boulevard and get
Which
fentanyl.
you think that's China attacking us or our CIA bringing the drugs they want us to do?
That's right.
Crack. Don't smoke weed. They brought cocaine and crack to America. Don't do kratom. They brought fentanyl.
That's right. Oh, by the way, Wednesday night, the July 3rd, I'll be doing a set at the Mothership. So if you want to come see me do a set at Joe Rogan's Club, I'll be doing it Wednesday night. Kurt will be there for the weekend.
Yeah, Mothership.
The Mothership. Okay. See you next week. Happy 4th of July. I have to read an ad.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, so go to an ad right now.
Have you all heard about the new superfood that seems almost too good to be true? It's got thousands upon thousands of 5-star reviews and life-changing testimonials from users. It's called Armra Colostrum. Now, I looked this stuff up. It turns out it actually is a superfood. People love this stuff. Colostrum is the first nutrition we receive in life, and it's an exclusive source of all these essential nutrients we need in order to thrive. Armra Colostrum is a proprietary concentrate of bovine colostrum that harnesses over 400 functional nutrients to strengthen your immune barriers against harmful particles from the environment that can trigger inflammation and make you sick. Colostrum has been known to strengthen immunity, ignite metabolism, fortify gut health, promote hair growth and skin radiance, and power fitness performance and recovery. Armra's grass-fed bovine colostrum concentrate strengthens all 4 layers of your gut wall, where 80% of your immune cells are housed, and activates cellular health for your resiliency and recovery. We've worked out a special offer for my audience. Receive 15% off your first order. Go to tryarmra, that's TRYARMRA.com/Jimmy, tryarmra.com/Jimmy, and enter Jimmy to get 15% off your first order. That's tryarmra, TRYARMRA.com/Jimmy. Hey, in these challenging times, it's more important than ever to prioritize your health and the health of your loved ones, even your liked ones. But there's a hidden threat that's been quietly affecting millions of hardworking folks like you. It's a sluggish and overworked liver. That's right. Your liver is under constant attack by GMOs, microplastic, toxins, fluoride, and all that stuff that you might not even know about. It's time to take action. That's where Pure Health Research comes in with their groundbreaking supplement, Liver Health Formula. The natural ingredients and nutrients in this formula are designed to support your liver's natural detoxification process for head-to-toe revitalization, shed unwanted pounds, and maintain an enjoyable active lifestyle. Liver Health Formula is made using only the highest quality, carefully selected ingredients and has 11 powerful, clinically proven ingredients to detoxify and rejuvenate your liver at the cellular level. As a special offer to my listeners, you can try Liver Health Formula and get a free 1-month supply of nano-powered omega-3 to support your heart health as well. That's right. This is an exclusive offer for my audience. Go to getliverhelp.com/Jimmy. Go there now and claim your exclusive gift and take a proactive step towards a healthier, more vibrant you. That's getliverhelp.com/Jimmy.
I stopped to see a weeping willow crying on his pillow. Maybe he's crying for me. As the skies turn gloomy, the night will whisper to me, I'm lonesome as I can be. I'm walking after midnight in the moonlight, just hoping you make it. I'm walking after midnight, searching for me. I stopped to see a weeping willow crying on his pillow. Maybe he's crying for me. As the skies turn gloomy, the night will whisper to me, I'm lonesome as I can be. I'm walking after midnight in the moonlight, just hoping you make it. I'm walking after midnight, searching for me. I stopped.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit
Isn't it swell? The memes make themselves. They found a rabbi hole, tunnels and all. There's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
At this time, more than any other time, you know, revolution is necessary. It is necessary. Not only based on what has happened with the MOVE organization, you know, the babies that have been murdered, you know, MOVE adults that have been murdered, bombs being dropped on us, but past that to what is happening with all black people, so-called minority people, you know, money poor people. You know, this government, as has been said earlier, has waged war on us. But, you know, something about us, particularly here in America, we don't really understand that. You know, we don't really know what war is. You know, for black people, for poor people, that people see as good, that they wasn't forced to do, that they didn't do to try to keep black people appeased, you know, and calm down so that black people wouldn't riot. A prison situation is a crystallized example of that. You can make phone calls in prison. They have movies in prison, but they don't have those things because they just want to be nice to prisoners. They have those things because they know damn well if they don't have, you know, people being able to contact their family, if they don't have, you know, facilities for people to sit there and watch movies, people are going to be frustrated, upset, and they're going to direct that frustration at them prison administrators, and they're going to have riots on their hands. You know, they're going to have people in them prisons turning them prisons out. That's why they have movies. That's why they have access to phones the way they do. And a stop to it when we don't like it, or encouraging it when it's something that's in our interest. You know, we have to call the shots. The people have to take the reins of this system and start dictating, you know, what we need, what needs to be done. And, you know, taking the initiative to do it ourselves. We can't rely on this system. I mean, you know, don't people see what's happening? Every single confrontation that MOVE people have been involved in, every single issue, you know, oppression, economic issues, every single issue facing our people, you know, is something that can be dealt with very, very simply. All people got to do is make their wishes known. All people have to do is stand up and say, listen, we're not accepting that. Unity is the key. Unity is the key to revolution. Revolution ain't nothing to be afraid of. It ain't nothing to shy away from. Revolution, contrary to what officials, you know, this system and those backing the officials running the system, you know, want people to believe that revolution means violence, you know, means blood in the street. I'm saying it can get to that point, but it don't have to be violent. You know, when people come together and take a strong stand on an issue, this government don't have no choice but to listen. Where you think they get their authority from? They don't have no power, but they do have authority to do certain things. Where you think they get it from? They get it from us, from the people. You know, they get it from us accepting the things that they do to be done to stop it. Then you have some people who want to then turn around and say, yeah, well, you know, it's the best we have, and want to make excuses. The time for excuses is over. It's over. You know, every man, woman, and child has to be involved in this revolution. Not only has to be, but is. whether you want to be or not. I mean, our babies gave their lives for this revolution on May 13th. You know, men, women, and children were murdered. And not just moved babies, you know. What about all of the young men, women, you know, children 8, 9 years old shot down on the street by cops, you know, by drug pushers? I mean, you know, where do you think that mentality comes from? It comes from this system, from the mentality of this system of getting over, you know, making a quick buck, you know. I'm saying that's where that needs to be done to stop it. Then, you know, what I want people to really, really understand is that it's past time. It is past time for poor people, black people, you know, to realize that this system has failed you. It has failed you. You can't get nothing from it. And what people got to do is withdraw our support from it and start doing for ourselves. That's what we got to do. You know, how long are people going to sit back and beg, you know, this government to do what's right when for hundreds of years all you've gotten is a slap in the face? All you've gotten is this government kicking your ass. That's all. That's all black people have ever gotten from this government.